So, as you well know, the political situation in Rivers State was already extremely tricky, with the very sorry sight of Governor Sim Fubara and the Minister of Abuja, Nyesom Wike, battling each other publicly as rattled citizens looked on in fear and dismay. Well, now we've entered another week of drama in the politics of the state, and the bombshell this time is the tenure of the local government chairman. That has taken center stage with arguments and counter-arguments about whether the constitution, which is clear on their term of office and which Governor Sim Fubara has been trumpeting loudly, predominates over the pronouncement of lawmakers in the State House of Assembly, which is being used by the local government chairman to legally justify their attempts to elongate their tenure. Lawmakers whose legitimacy, don't forget, is under question. So, which authority has the right to override the other? The Nigerian Constitution or the State House of Assembly lawmakers, who themselves are in court trying to determine their political future? And how high stakes and critical is this latest struggle for supremacy?
You are all aware that the tenure of the council chairman ended yesterday, and today we have ordered the head of local governments to be in charge while they wait for further directives. It's really unfortunate that we started hearing some disturbing news from some LGAs of invasion of council secretariats, and it's really, really unfortunate. So we have called the Secretary Council meeting so that the needful will be done. We are also aware that our enemy is also planning a lot of things, but we will not fall into that plot where we will allow him or them to destroy the peace that we're enjoying in the state. Let me also say this. I am also aware that there is also a grand plan to come and arrest some of our supporters. This time around, you have to pass through me to arrest them, because I don't think there is anything that any of those people following us have done rather than stand on the side of truth. If it will cost us our life to stand on the side of truth, we will do that, and I will be the one that will lead this cause.
Well, that's the governor of Rivers State, Sim Fubara. He's not taking any prisoners there, clearly. With more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by Senator Olaka Nwogu, who represents the Southeast Senatorial District in Rivers State and was a former three-time member of the House of Representatives. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for having me.
Long day for you, then.
Yeah, it took a while.
Well, I know you were in Port Harcourt this morning, and you had a bit of a challenge getting a flight back. So thank you for making it and coming to our studios. Is Governor Fubara acting within or outside the law in his actions regarding the tenure of the local government chairman in Rivers State?
Well, clearly, I'm not comfortable with some of the words I'm hearing. The use of the word enemy.
You mean from the governor?
Yes, the use of the word enemy, the threat to put himself on the line for people who may break the law to achieve certain ends. I think it's time for all the principal actors and leaders and people of Rivers State to de-escalate. I would like the governor to know he's the governor and is the chief security officer of the state. He should promote peace, should promote understanding.
But he should also uphold the Constitution. That is his primary duty, isn't it?
And I like the fact that you want the Constitution upheld. So let's look at what the Constitution says in this matter. Maybe it will give clarity. Local government is guaranteed as a democratically elected system under the Constitution. That is Section 7 sub 1. It's the basis from where all these flow. It says the system of local government must be democratically elected. Now, how did it intend this should be done? In section 8, it says that the state assembly shall pass law for its composition, structure, tenure, etc. So the law-making body for the actualization of the intent of the Constitution is the State Assembly.
When you say that Section 8 says that, does it say specifically, when you say the tenure, because that is really what the legal argument is about.
Yes.
It says specifically that they can make laws to extend the tenure?
Now, let me tell you what has happened.
Well,
here.
we just need clarity on that, because
yes.
you're a senator and you're a lawmaker.
This thing drives point by point. First of all, you have a situation where the Constitution says they must be democratic. Second, it says this body shall make laws for it. Now, in the past, it's been the practice that governors appoint caretakers, which is not democratic for local government. That's not the intent of the Constitution. So there is a local government law, 2018. It was amended in 2023 and further amended in 2024. This tenure is 3 years, as prescribed in the law. 3 years took a long time coming. Elections,
But it is 3 years.
It's 3 years.
Yeah.
And elections ought to have been held long, long ago. But people will not hold elections because people will wait to when a situation like this is foisted on everybody, then create caretaker committees. Clearly, this particular House of Assembly did not want that to happen. They were sworn, as all else, the governor and everyone else was sworn to defend the Constitution. They were sworn to it. So they, in 2023, passed a law. And the law says, pursuant to the Constitution, there shall be no caretaker committees, interim management committee, or civil servants, or anything other than elected people. So the law says, in the Constitution and by the state law, domesticated state law, it says no individuals not elected shall run the local government.
So what does it say would happen in the case of a quagmire such as you've got today?
When they got to this point, you know, I must give them kudos. They saw this coming again. Everybody was clamoring. Recall that the president even intervened at the time, and that political solution by Mr. President, which all parties signed, the minister, the governor, and all else signed. It was one of the items there. There shall be no caretaker committees. No. So it was agreed by all, which is fair. So getting to this point, or seeing what was to happen, once the State Assembly sensed that from all indication, elections will not hold, it came up with what would be the lesser of but all evils, two evils. And which is this lesser? The Constitution for the federal government says that if there is war or any reason why Nigeria cannot hold an election for the office of president at the expiration of the 4 years tenure, the National Assembly can extend the tenure of the president by 6 months at a time.
And that's what they've done on the state
so
level.
Just domesticated
right.
at the
But
local
let me
government.
ask you this then. At what point did the State House of Assembly make this decision? And had they ostensibly abdicated their positions when they made this decision?
Okay, you see, now there are this brings two other issues.
Right.
The people who made this law, are they in a position, are they validly placed to make
I mean,
the
I'm
law?
not talking about the initial law that was made in 2023. I'm talking about the extension, the 6-month extension that they granted when you said it became clear to them that elections would not be held.
Okay, that part, their own status is before the courts. The matter comes up.
It's a very straightforward
Yes,
question.
yes. No, because as at now, Only the courts can say which way that goes.
No,
My
but what I'm saying is that
interpretation-
at the point
Yes.
when they made the decision to extend the tenure
Yes.
of the local government chairman,
Yes.
what was their status?
members of the State Assembly.
Yeah, but had they at that point said that they were carpet crossing to another party?
I can't remember the particular.
Because the reason I say
understand
that is
whether
that,
at
is
that
that
time they were in contention or not.
If they had said that they were crossing over
Yeah.
by that time,
Yeah.
then the issue of the legitimacy of them as lawmakers arises. Their legal legitimacy, obviously.
Sorry.
And in that respect, you would think that if the governor believes that there is an issue of legitimacy around the people, whether they are authentic lawmakers or not, there's an issue of legal legitimacy around them. In those circumstances, they would not have been empowered to make the kind of rule that they made, in which case it would fall on the governor as the governor of the state.
It doesn't work that way. You see, there are processes to everything. Even if you cross carpet, there are processes to losing your status as a member of the legislature. It does not just fall that because you took an action, this is the consequence. And that's what many people have been thinking,
right.
that once A happens, B consequence. No, there are processes. Now, it's before the courts. Typically, it's the speaker that declares a seat vacant. You can change your party unless the speaker declares your seat vacant. By the processes of the law, you still keep the seat.
So your point basically is...
And that is the law.
Right. You're saying that the lawmakers have a right to extend, they have a constitutional power to extend the tenure of the local government chairman.
Yes, because what they did is in consonance with what the Constitution has provided for another tier of government.
So your argument then, just to be clear, is that the action of the governor violates the autonomy of the local government system in the country, because you're saying that he sounds like he's deepening the crisis at a time when Nigerians are calling for constitutional recognition of the local governments and for state governors to respect that constitutional autonomy. In other words, it's not in his place to interfere.
I sincerely believe that that is the case, and I also believe that what is happening now is going to open up a dark side that needed light being shed, because local governments have for far too long been seen as an appendage of state governments. Now, everybody knows that that should not be the case. Two, the impunity by which local governments, democratically elected local governments are assaulted, actually had not been a thing we were pleased to see. Now we have a situation where an assembly has risen, and it brings this, now we are discussing it. Do you have the power to set up any other form of government at the local government other than the elected? The Constitution says no. The law says no. But people are used to it, so everybody thinks it's normal. Right. At the expiration, it will just happen. But it's an illegal act. And you see, now youths are being made to go out, and the governor is saying, if you touch them. I think that's not how things should work. The court sits on Thursday. Everybody should wait for the court. The court process might grind slowly, but they sure take us to a destination. Whether A is right or B is right, people should not take laws into their hands. Wait for the process to play out. I will urge, and I think all the leaders should urge for the process to play out according to the law. Yeah. The courts are not involved.
Right.
Why do we want to do self-help?
But you know a lot more about this than the ordinary Nigerian. I understand there have been Supreme Court decisions that do not allow for any change in the tenure of the local government chairmen.
You just saw where I just pointed, you could check where the Constitution allows you to extend. You see, the Constitution...
No, but you were talking about it didn't talk about the local government chairman, that Constitution. It was talking about the president, wasn't it?
Yeah, but this is a domestic... See how laws work. The Constitution says you have the power to make laws for a place.
Yeah.
You gave 3 years as the tenure. now there is either a force majeure, an act of God, or some disturbance that make it difficult for that to happen. The legislature has power to legislate, to sit and say, in the event of this not happening, that shall happen.
That is a legitimate legislature.
A legitimate
right.
legislature.
But there is a question mark, you have to admit, about the legitimacy.
Mark, only a court in this instance can say you are not. So until that happens, you are.
Right.
And there is a court judgment that says they are. So now everything is before the Court of Appeal.
But there is a court judgment that also raises questions about whether they are.
So when it comes to now these judgments,
right.
it is best for everybody. You see, we should have sanity. We should have patience. We should learn to trust our institutions, however they grind.
Okay, let me talk to you now as a politician, yes, rather than as a lawmaker.
Yeah.
What is the political element in all of this? Because I'm wondering whether this latest issue is an extension of the personality clash and conflict between Nyesom Wike and Sim Fubara, because we're hearing those local government chairmen saying they only owe allegiance to Mr. Amewule, who, as everyone knows, is Nyesom Wike's speaker of the State House of Assembly, and that they're saying that they will not hearken to the orders of Governor Fubara. So everybody immediately wondering, to what extent is this, again, an extension of that crisis between Nyesom Wike and Sim Fubara?
Well, there is no doubt that there are issues that have arisen. But while I will address that, I will avow your mind to the fact that ultimately is the law that guides us. So whether you belong to Peter or you belong to
No,
Paul.
but you talked about the fact that...
I said I will come to it.
I understand that. I don't mean to
Yes.
interrupt you, and I apologize.
Yes.
But you talked about previously, one of the reasons you adduced why this should not be happening now is
Yes.
that you talked about the political settlement,
And
which was orchestrated by President Tinubu. That's a political settlement.
Yes, yes.
So I'm asking you about the political issue that
Yes.
comes to play here, because it is as a result of the politics that the situation becomes blown up.
Yes, so I'm admitting
Yeah.
the existence of political issues, but I'm saying however they are configured, it's the law that should guide everybody. But to the politics, yes, Fubara was an officer of the Rivers State government who worked under Governor Wike, then Governor Wike. And towards the end of the tenure, he was somebody that was chosen by Wike and voted for by the rest of us as the preferred successor. So he's his benefactor, and he's the governor who
And are you a
succeeded.
benefactor as well of Mr. Wike's largesse?
We all have been, we are literally the father of politics for the last several years.
So when it comes to the issue between Nyesom Wike and Governor Fubara, would it be fair to say that you are a supporter of Nyesom Wike?
We were family, and we were one people.
Well, it's a straightforward question. There's a
yes.
dispute. Which side are you on?
I work with Wike and his team.
So you are a supporter of Mr.
Yeah,
Wike.
but I would rather prefer to see myself as somebody who sees Rivers State as bigger than any group. That was why I would say let's de-escalate. But
Right.
yes, I work with Wike.
Right. And you are a senator from Rivers State. You are a federal lawmaker, and you presumably, as you said, want to see law and order maintained in your state. How do you think is the best way to go about doing that in the current circumstances? Because you've got, I mean, I know you've mentioned about sticking with the law and so on, but it goes a little bit beyond that. I mean, you've got youths on the street, some of them are armed, they're taking up positions outside local government offices in defense of what they say is the Constitution and by extension, the governor. What are your thoughts on all that, on how best to resolve it?
There's a current senator for the seat I served. His name is Senator Barry Mpigi. I had served as a senator. Barry Mpigi currently serves on the seat as senator representing my senatorial zone. Now to the other part of the question, which is the agitators or those who are...
Well, I mean, there are people who've gone out there. Some of them have come there with arms.
It's unfortunate, and that is why I call for de-escalation. This will serve nobody any good. It doesn't advance any cause. I don't see how it helps anybody, whether you are for Fubra or for Wike, whether you are for the local government chairman or you are against. This is a matter of law. Doing what people are doing on the street. So if the courts finally take a stance, all this effort, all these things you're doing, you're just harming people or harming yourself. I think whoever is sponsoring people to do this should desist. It's not good for our state. It doesn't help the cause. It doesn't advance anything. It doesn't deepen. See, the process of democracy is being deepened, but it will not be helped by this. These are distractions. These are negative distractions. People should go back to their homes. The governor needs sanity. He is the governor. He needs to rule a quiet state. So he should call people back to their homes. Everybody stay back and watch the process. Let the courts decide what they have to decide. Let the state assembly do what it must do to the extent that the law allows it. Let everybody work within the law. But putting people out in the street, so are you going to, if you seize a building, does that give you the local government? I don't think so.
But you do agree that the state is on the brink here?
And more so, the leadership of Governor
Well,
Fubra.
I mean, it is on the brink of exploding, and if it does, which we hope it doesn't, it would be attributable to a failure of the political class, not one or the other, the political part of which you are.
Yeah, certainly.
Part.
Certainly. If anything untoward comes up disagreeable or say violence or this thing, I will feel bad to be part of the leadership of a state or be one of the elders of a state that has to come to this situation. I think that all right-thinking leaders should speak out and ask for de-escalation, ask for this mayhem to stop. The direction we are going is not the right direction. The direction we should go is to have good debates about our processes, about how we want to be governed, say no to things that are wrong, say yes to things that are right. But all this can be done in the context of dialogue and conversations, not people arming talks to go. Not even the governor calling for people. Those people there, if you touch them, who are those people that people will touch? What are they doing in the council? What is their status? What locals do they have to go and then break into council premises to go and, either destroy, vandalize? Remember, our state assembly, similar thing happened, and we're very ashamed of that episode. It was bombed just to alter or stop a political process. Now again, you find people wanting to go to 23 councils. These are our state assets. Whatever you do to them, you're hurting us. It will still need our own money to fix those things. It doesn't help anybody. I hope that the governor himself will call for calm and ask everybody to return to their homes and allow the process work.
Well, I hope you're saying these things to the other side as well, because there are two combatants here.
Yes,
Let's be clear.
Yes.
I mean, there's one side and there's the other side. And in order for you to have calm,
yes,
both sides would have to calm down. And I'm wondering whether, I mean, you're calling for dialogue and so on. That clearly hasn't worked so far, has it?
Well, I think that I can say to the local government chairmen who are beneficiaries of extended tenure, they should stay within the law.
Yeah, but you can also tell them, in order to avoid conflict, because you've got youth and so on, said just don't go to those offices, just remain calm until, because some of them are asserting themselves, and they're asserting themselves because they feel they have some powerful support.
Well, it's difficult to place that because you keep trying to bring in Wike, and what I see here is a situation where the players, the people who benefit from this elongation, so to speak, are known, and they are also adults demanding their own right. They were elected. Mind you, they were elected by people of the state.
Yeah, but their tenure is over.
No,
constitutionally over.
No. Constitutionally, their tenure, you see, it's a logical thing. The Constitution gave power for this to happen. So everything they've done is within the Constitution. The enabler of what they are doing is the Constitution. The Constitution says, prescribe their tenure. Then if this does not happen, you deal with it. And the Assembly dealt with it. So they are within the ambits of the Constitution. And ordinarily, they need protection. But I also agree, rather than have violence, everybody de-escalate. Maybe sit back at home, both parties, everybody, go back to your house, wait. Let the process play out. I'm sure it looks like the courts too, because the last adjournment they did on this was very brief. So I think the courts are having accelerated hearings.
Right.
They understand.
Do you think this crisis can be settled legally or politically? Because as soon as the courts make a decision on a particular issue, the political issue continues to fester underneath, and it will throw up something else. Do you think that it needs a political settlement, and that perhaps the only person who can intervene or re-intervene to bring about that political settlement would have to be the president himself again?
I absolutely agree. Now, it's unfortunate that the president took time to do that before, and then the parties signed. I was there. I was at the meeting the president held with parties on this matter, and curiously, he asked so many times, does anybody disagree with any of the items listed, 8 points? And each one, everybody was okay. And then he called for parties to sign, and they all signed. Unfortunately, no sooner than this came out, people started creating an impression whether it was a genuine document or not. So, but we saw people signing, we knew they were genuine. Of course, it's been proven to be genuine. I think we should respect the president. We should understand that he's not from our state, but as a leader of the country, he's trying to help us at a time when we seem to have lost our own bearing. It's only Mr. President that can provide that platform for a political solution. However, the one he did before is still good.
Yeah, but the easiest way to sort this thing out is to let the executive governor be the executive governor. I mean, that is his turf. He's elected by the people. It's as simple as that. No, just let him do his job and don't interfere in his job.
You see, this is the narrative that has deceived a lot of people. The governor is not allowed to work. No, what is happening is that the governor is not allowed to dominate. The work of the governor...
I don't know what you mean by dominate.
Allow me answer.
Right, okay.
The work of the governor, by constitution and by law, is to provide, take care of the welfare, the security, etc., of the place, to make the people pursue their happiness and
and in that process, not to share his responsibilities with someone else.
Listen, no. The battle is in the field of politics. This fight is in politics, not in governance. In the realm of governance, nobody. The governor gets his allocation. The governor decides the projects he wants to do. The governor pays for the projects he wants to pay. There is no interference. Nobody is sharing the authority of the governor in running the state as he so wishes. Now, but you go back to the other turf. If it's political structure, any man has a right to have his structure. If it is the state assembly, members of the state assembly were elected. They were not appointed. They are not subservient to the governor. They were not brought in by the governor. In fact, it was the same day we voted for the governor, we also voted for the assembly members. And their job is to check. Their job is not to... So when you see the assembly people ask for something, people say, allow the governor to know. The system is not framed that way. The system makes you that you elect one set of person to run government and another to check how is running government. And both must be allowed to work. Allow the state assembly do their job. Allow the governor do their job. And when both are doing their job, understand it, that it's legitimate roles they are playing. So the governor cannot emasculate the assembly, which is what, when you hear the assembly people try to assert themselves, people think that, they are stopping the governor. No, there's no absolute
Well,
power.
I'm afraid it's a bit more complicated than that. But unfortunately, we're out of time. But I want to thank you very much indeed for taking the time to come and talk to us. Senator Olaka Nwogu represented the Southeast Senatorial District in Rivers State and was a former 3-time member of the House of Representatives. Thank you very much indeed. And thank you for trying to bring clarity to this issue.